Tony, check the stream for me and let me know how your guys' voices are.
Checking. Let's see.
Oh yeah, I hear AJ.
Alright, sweet. Does it sound clear? Everyone good?
Yeah, it seems you sound a little bit quiet.
Who,
Me?
me or Matt?
Yeah, Matt's the quietest.
Okay, I'll just make sure to talk very into the microphone. Alright. So you guys ready to start this thing up?
Are we,
I'm
do I need
ready.
to record Audacity or not?
No, you don't need to record
Okay.
anything. Alright guys, so this is our first game day live stream. Let's pull up the plan really quick in Discord. So first thing we're gonna do is matchup talk. Then we're gonna highlight 3 games that we're really interested in this week. Talk some key matchups. Then we're gonna end it with a little bit of some betting. We're gonna see who has a better week between some comparable players. As the live stream's going on, as we get injury news, as you see, I do have Twitter up. Anything that pops up, you guys will be able to see. The newest news, Stefon Diggs seems to be in. He practiced well. Robbie Anderson is looking okay. Marquise Brown is active. Adrian Pearson is officially not active, which is very good. I think I might have to put Geis in a couple places in my starting lineup. But let's actually jump into that one first. Skip ahead a little bit and talk about Darius Geis and Chris Thompson versus Philadelphia. What do you guys expect? AJ, I know you really want to talk Chris Thompson, so we can actually start with him. Do you see him, as a PPR play this week? Do you actually feel comfortable playing him?
Yeah, I think more so unless your season-long league and your team is just looking really poor, or maybe you have AB, like some people that we might know, and you need somebody now to flex. I think Chris Thompson in full PPR can definitely be a flex-worthy option. I think that he's a great play in DFS. I think if you're doing a tournament where it's not necessarily like a 50-50 or a double up, I think Chris Thompson's a good play. But it's right now it's Geis, Chris Thompson, and Smallwood who are the active running backs for Washington. And everyone that I've seen, beat writers and other fantasy heads have been saying that Wendell Smallwood is not expected to see too many snaps. So I would expect something like 60-40 Geis to Chris Thompson. And I think it's safe to say that the Redskins are probably going to be playing from behind today. So I think in those passing downs, we're definitely going to see Geis, because they are clearly super excited about Geis and what he can do, and getting him some actual game action in the regular season. But I think Chris Thompson is going to give you a pretty decent floor if you're in a pinch and you need someone to flex today. I'm not sure what you guys think.
What do you think, Tony?
I agree pretty much. I think he's gonna. I mean, like you said, there's only 2 backs that are probably going to be getting snaps on offense on that team this week. So I think Chris Thompson's definitely a high floor play at worst.
Um, this is the thing. I really love Darius Geis catching the football. I think he's pretty underrated there, but I could definitely see a possibility where he gets a week where he had, if you guys remember, where he would score like 27 points. What was that, like 2 years ago, where he was consistently doing that?
He was insane. He was like a wide receiver 1.
So in a deep league, let's say like our dynasty league, if
Sure.
it was PPR, wouldn't mind it. DFS play for, you're going for like the $50,000. I understand.
Right.
I personally probably wouldn't play him in most scenarios. I don't feel too comfortable. I do, however, with the news officially that Pearson's out, I do feel a lot more comfortable playing Geis. It's a lot of people don't predict this game to be a positive game script for running the football for Washington. They think they're going to be obviously behind quite a bit. I like the Eagles' offense. Sorry, hit the mic right there. But I think this game's going to be a lot closer than people imagine. Washington seems to always play teams better than their talent shows. I think Gruden might be slightly underrated as a coach. That offensive line is very worrisome. But Geis is so talented. and Washington's defense really is not that bad.
Is their line that bad? From what I mean, maybe it's bad, but I feel like they paid their line like a lot of money. Did they not? Don't they have like the most expensive
Well,
offense in the league? Even though,
It would be better with that one guy's holding out.
Trent
He
Williams is
wants to get.
holding out,
oh,
Yeah.
that's you're right.
and
Yep,
they
forgot
have an
about that.
injury that's causing Eric Flowers to start, if I'm not mistaken. So
Mm,
Yeah, you're
that's
right, Matt.
all
Mm.
you need to know about that. Eric
Mm.
Flowers is maybe the worst. I don't understand how he keeps getting starting jobs. I think there's guys the
Yeah.
Vikings who are not a great offensive line have cut that are better than Eric Flowers. Um, but yeah, that's my personal opinion. Play Chris
hmm
Thompson, deep leagues, taking a shot. But if you have to put Geis in there, I would feel very comfortable doing it. I don't think
Yeah,
he's gonna have a better week than David Montgomery and Aaron Jones did. That would be my
exactly.
prediction.
I think so. I think you can say that with confidence, just off volume alone. I think that you can trust Geis. They clearly have a ton of confidence in him. They're clearly excited about getting him on the field. So just off those factors alone, plus volume is really what's super important here. I agree. I think you can start Geis with confidence.
All right, so let's actually move on to what we are talking about secondly, and that's going to be Kenyon Drake versus Baltimore. Now, this one's really interesting. I'll
Hmm.
go ahead and start it off first. I was thinking this is going to be a horrible play, and it still might be stupid of me to play Kenyon Drake. But the thing is, Baltimore's going to be in the lead, and Kenyon Drake is a great pass catcher. He's so freaking good at it, and I think he's going to get quite a bit of volume over Kalen Ballage. I think the coaches are starting to realize how much more talented he is than Ballage. It's only taken 3 years for a coach to finally realize that. I think he's a sneaky play this week. I think he's going to get enough passing volume, and he's always so good in the passing game, no matter what defense he's up against, that I feel confident he's going to score, at least the floor's 7 to 8 points in a half PPR setting.
He might actually be the best wide receiver right now on that roster.
That's the other thing. Albert Wilson, a lot of people are hyping him up. He's
Mhm.
decent. Devontae Parker's awful. Jakeem Grant's really not that good. Kenyon Drake might be the best option in the passing game. Now, Fitzpatrick is starting. We have not seen him throw to the running back a ton, but that's because he was in Tampa. We're going back quite a bit. When he was with the Jets, he had no problem dumping it off. So,
You're right. That's a good point. That was something that I was definitely concerned about with the Kenyon Drake play is that we have Ryan Fitzpatrick, who is just a gunslinger, right? He's just eyes downfield at all times. But you can't compare these situations at all. Whenever you have Kenyon Drake in the backfield now instead of Peyton Barber and Rojo, who doesn't even have hands, I don't think. So it's going to be interesting to see what Kenyon Drake does in a game where we tend to say, okay, game script favors pass catching running backs because they need to throw the ball. This is going to be pretty telling, I think, for Kenyon Drake's value moving forward. Do they utilize him in the pass game whenever they're down? And if they're not down, let's say they miraculously, get it. Maybe they pick off Lamar Jackson for a pick six and really swing the tide. I mean, that's not improbable. What do they do in that scenario? So it's going to be and he's definitely like one of the main running backs that I'm looking at this week to kind of evaluate moving forward. Other guys, you feel confident in. He's someone that we really want to keep an eye out for.
Tony, go ahead. I know you love Kenyon Drake almost as much as me now, so I want to hear you talk about it. What do you think's going to happen this weekend?
Well, worst case scenario, they keep it a close game and he just doesn't get the pass catches, but he's still going to be in the game. I don't think Kalen Ballage is good enough to take anything away from his snap count besides just rest. There's no one on that. There's no running backs on that roster that I think is a threat to Kenyon Drake. He's really the only thing that's going to hold him back this year is going to be his own injury. Yeah, that's about it.
And I think that's maybe why we haven't seen him be a workhorse, as everyone's concerned about those injuries. But at some point, I feel like you just got to try it. And if there's any year to try it with the Dolphins, it's this year that they're just throwing away. If I was the coach, I'd be personally going, let's see if he can do it. Let's see if he can take 200 rushes, 60 receptions and be healthy. And if he can, you have your back for the next 4 or 5 years. All right.
Yeah.
So, conclusion of that one, I think Kenyon Drake's a good play. I think we all think he's definitely playable. If you're in a pinch, don't think, oh, it's Baltimore. You absolutely can't play him. He's going to catch passes. If you're in a standard league, I might be a little bit more concerned. I might look towards a guy that's got a little bit more insurance, a little bit more touchdown upside this week because they are playing Baltimore's D. Let's go to number 3, and this one isn't till Monday night, but it's a very interesting one because I was so high on him, but then all the Antonio Brown news came out. Josh Jacobs versus Denver. If you drafted him, it's almost like you might have to play him. There's a chance you have some other guys to put in there. I know, Tony, you have him in a lot of leagues. What are you personally doing with him against that Denver D with Vic Fangio?
I'm still starting him just because I think the PPR floor is just going to be so high. He's a really underrated pass catcher. I mean, he's probably he's just really good at catching the ball, and even if they're down, the pass rush is just going to get to Derek Carr so fast. All he's going to be able to do is dump it off. So that's why I think Waller and Jacobs are going to be the 2 plays this week because he's not going to have any time to throw that ball.
That's fair. And the thing is, with Antonio Brown gone, it really, I mean, it hurts Josh Jacobs because it hurts the entire offense. But you're right. I mean, the 2 guys on that team that I think are going to be fed the football are Jacobs and Waller. And Jacobs 100% can be a workhorse, and he can catch the football. Again, in a standard league, a little bit more concerned, but where you drafted him, I don't think you have a better choice. Maybe if you got Tevin Coleman or Matt Breida late and you want to take that chance against the horrible Tampa Bay defense. AJ, where do you weigh in on this?
Well, I mean, I'm just as excited about Waller as everyone else, but I think we need to pump the brakes about, he's getting the ball. I mean, Hunter Renfrow is a very good slot receiver, and he's probably going to see a decent amount of volume as well. And Tyrell Williams is not a slouch either. So I don't think it's necessarily like Waller is number 2 in targets or Jacobs for that matter. I think those 2 can see a lot of volume as well, especially Renfrow. I know I personally have concerns about their offensive line, so I think Renfrow, with the type of routes that he runs, can see a decent amount of volume. Now, as far as Jacobs goes, I only have him in 1 league. I am in more leagues than I can truly count. But I'm in a work league that's just for $20, something casual. So I wanted to get some exposure to different guys because I still think I can win the league even by mixing it up a little bit there. So I did take Jacobs in this league, and it's half PPR, but I'm actually sitting Jacobs. I have better wideout options, so I'm not going to flex him, but I'm sitting him at the running back 2 spot for Austin Eckler this week. And I have other options too that I would probably start over Jacobs. Going against the Denver defense that now is Vic Fangio there, I'm definitely gonna bench Jacobs just because I can and I can afford to. This matchup, it just seems like bad news to me. But volume wise and for what they're supposedly asking Jacobs to do, I think he's going to be a fine RB2 moving forward. But this is a hell of a test, losing AB and coming into Denver week 1. I mean, good luck, but they could surprise us at the same time. I'm not ruling anything out.
So
Yeah, and I just want to add to that.
Yeah.
I mean, Antonio Brown's targets have to go somewhere, and Hunter Renfrow and Tyrell Williams and Waller and Jacobs are all still on the team. It's not like they added anybody. So, I mean, I think everybody else's value, even though they might not be quality targets, they're all going to go somewhere.
So, just reiterating, if you just joined us, some of the actives today: Stephon Diggs, Robbie Anderson, Albert Wilson, all are going to be active. Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown will be active. Inactives include Adrian Pearson and Jordan Reed for that Washington offense. So we got a quick question from the YouTube. Just want to hit on this for our viewer. He asked Eckler or Ridley in a full PPR. I would 100% go Eckler against Indianapolis because I think he's going to get a lot more playing time than Justin Jackson will. But what do you guys think?
I agree.
Eckler. Yeah, I'm a floor guy, especially when you have someone with what should be a solid floor as Eckler's this week. I'm always going to err on the side of the floor, especially week one. The Vikings, their defense, it's bordering on a little overrated, but they're still good and they're at home. So I'm worried about Ridley, who had 10 touchdowns last year. So that's where a lot of his value came from, was from the touchdowns. So I'm going to go Eckler. I definitely err on the side of the floor.
Yeah. So if you're watching Bryson, we recommend Eckler highly in a PPR format. So the last matchup I think we're going to be talking about is Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard. So the opposite side of that Philadelphia-Washington game. Are you playing either of them? Are you going to see how it works out? I personally, I only have Miles Sanders in one league. I don't have any Jordan Howard stock. I'm not super excited about this backfield just because I think it's too running back by committee for fantasy purposes. I'm not starting Miles Sanders week one. I'm going to see how the splits turn out. I'm actually looking forward maybe to later when Miles Sanders maybe gets more work because he shows how much better he is than Jordan Howard and Darren Sproles and Corey Clement. You guys have similar thoughts, or do you feel comfortable starting them because they're playing Washington?
Tony, you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, where he was going in drafts, I think you have the luxury of not having to play him. He's more of a wait and see type play at this point. I think unless something really bad happened to your roster, I don't think there's any reason to put him out there right away, especially against an underrated Redskins defense.
Yeah, I think this isn't necessarily a good spot for Miles Sanders. I think if he's valuable this week, it's going to come from a rushing touchdown, which, they had Jordan Howard there. He seems like a pretty good guy to throw in at the goal line as well. The Eagles are just they're not very fantasy friendly with how they use their running backs. They know that it's not necessary to have a bell cow, and they clearly don't have intentions on implementing a bell cow style of back this season. So I'm definitely going to wait until Miles Sanders can show that he deserves more touches. I don't think they're going to give them to him right away. So this matchup, I'm definitely staying away. There obviously is season long potential for Miles Sanders, but this week, no thanks. Even on Jordan Howard, I'm not even overly high on him this week either. And another reason is the Eagles. I don't have the exact number, but they are toward the bottom of the league in passing to running backs. So even at a PPR format, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of value from either of those guys. That's going to make them worth starting in your running back spot, potentially a flex play if you're very desperate. But me personally, I'm not in that situation, and I don't recommend starting those guys this week.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the next segment where we're each going to highlight one of our games of the week. So it's AJ's idea, so we're going to go ahead and let him go first with the Los Angeles Rams. It's at Carolina, correct?
It is at Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, and this line, this Vegas line, not that I judge too much of my fantasy analysis on the line, but this is just an interesting game, just in general. I think it started off opening up with the Rams -3, and I've seen that line go all the way down to Rams -1. And a lot of people are kind of understanding that this Carolina team, at least offensively, they can make some noise. And the Rams defense on the flip side, they're not what they were last season either. They lost Ndamukong Suh. Their secondary isn't stellar. And I think that with the weapons that the Panthers have, I do foresee this being a shootout. I think that people maybe have a bad taste in their mouth from that Super Bowl, which was the most anticlimactic thing I've seen since the Seattle Broncos Super Bowl. I think that both of these teams are going to come out firing. I am extremely confident in this being a high-scoring game. So that leads me to the fantasy implications. I think everybody in this game is going to have a great fantasy day. So as far as season-long fantasy goes, you could start all of these guys with confidence. If you have Samuels, you probably got him at a value where you're not sure if you want to start him today or not. I think if you're 50-50 on starting him, I think you should start him. I think he has a lot of big play probability today. And if you do any DraftKings like myself, Samuels is an awesome play today. He's $4,200, which
That's
is
crazy.
half the price of the top rated or the top priced wideout. So he is somebody that I don't even think is going to be too chalky. I think he'll have higher ownership than most, but I don't think he's going to be absurd. And I think that he's a great play. Christian McCaffrey should expect to see a ton of volume today as well. Love Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks especially. Cup, personally, I mean, he's healthy. He's looked good. I just worry about his usage on the field week one. I just think that they're going to be a little cautious with him, but he can still be productive when he's out there. Cooks and Woods are in the $6,000 range in DraftKings, which is extremely affordable. Everybody today is just buyable. It's awesome. It's an insane day to play DraftKings. So I expect this to be a high scoring matchup. The result of it, I do think the Rams do come out on top, and I could see them winning by less than a touchdown. But I see them totally hitting the over.
Do you think so? Just real quick, Todd Gurley
Sure.
gain the workload, or are we gonna see Darrell Henderson as a change of pace, or are we gonna see Malcolm Brown maybe take some series from Todd Gurley as the handcuff there?
I think at least in the passing downs, I think that we're going to see Todd Gurley get, I think, around 10 targets. I think he's definitely going to get his share because, like I said, I see this being a shootout. I see them having to pass the ball. And I don't know necessarily Todd Gurley gets more than 12 carries, but I think 10 targets is definitely like a floor, in my opinion, for Gurley today.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna get quite a few snaps, to be honest.
All right. So we're going to move on. And I was originally going to do the Pittsburgh New England game, but I figured let's try and, since we're all doing morning games, I'll pick another morning game. And
Morning game. Check your Pacific time privilege. Morning games.
Exactly. It's wonderful.
I'm so jealous.
That's why I love Mountain Time. It's like the sweet spot in the middle.
God, you guys.
All right.
I'm
so
Central, so go ahead. Sorry.
go with my Vikings against the Falcons. It is a home game for the Vikings, and this is interesting. So, if you drafted Julio Jones, you're obviously playing him. If you drafted Thielen, Diggs is active once again. I think Thielen and Diggs are great plays. Julio, Xavier Rhodes is not the Xavier Rhodes of old. He hasn't been playing as well the past year and a change. However, whenever he's gone up against Julio in his career, he always has dominated him. And it's the same thing with OBJ. Rhodes, for some reason, plays really, really well against Julio. And I also think part of that is Zimmer scheming specifically for Julio Jones. So when it comes to DFS, there's so many cheap options this week. You're probably picking a bunch of cheap guys and you're going for like two absolute studs. I would not choose Julio as one of those studs. I would stay away from him in this matchup. Obviously, season-long fantasy, go ahead and play him. You draft him in the first or second round. He's not going to be horrible. I just don't see a game where he gets 120 yards and a TD, 2 TDs. The Vikings and Falcons also, recently, whenever they play under this Mike Zimmer era, it's been a low-scoring game. So take that as you will. Calvin Ridley, I'm feeling a little bit more confident about. I think he'll, maybe be overlooked a little bit. One position that seems to always get the Vikings, and it's just because of the way they scheme, is the tight end position. So if you drafted Austin Hooper, I think he's a good week one play, actually. I wouldn't mind putting him in there. Devontae Freeman, again, where you draft him, he's probably a full go. The Vikings D is good. I agree with AJ here. They might be a little bit overrated this year. I think they're getting I think they started underrated. Now they're getting a little bit overrated. Devontae Freeman's probably going to have a decent game. If you drafted Matt Ryan, you probably drafted him too high in my opinion. But go ahead and play him. Looking at the Vikings side, Cousins, I'm not super ecstatic about this game, but I think he'll have a good game. I think Thielen and Diggs are going to be hitting that floor. You're not going to worry about a bust from either of them. So, in turn, I don't think Kirk Cousins is really going to bust. Definitely do not touch Alex Madison this game. He is getting so overhyped. As a Viking fan, I can see that the Vikings organization does like him, but he is not a good running back. Dalvin Cook is going to be the absolute workhorse, and he's only going to be coming off the field if he's tired. That is my prediction. I'm almost sure of that because he's just so far and away more explosive. He's better. He's a better pass catcher. He's a better runner. He's just a better player. Dalvin Cook is going to be on the field 100%. Love Dalvin Cook this week. He is a guy that maybe if you're looking for that one stud in DFS, I think he's only, 6,200. I would have to check that.
It's like 6,000. He's going to be super chalky, I think,
Yeah.
which is fine. I mean, that value. There's a lot of guys that are foreseeable as being chalky, so to speak. So there's really what really is chalk in week one whenever
Yeah.
everybody is a value play.
Kyle Rudolph, I actually think he's startable this week in season long because Kirk Cousins finally looks more comfortable passing to him with Gary Kubiak and helping out this offense. The tight end's going to get more looks, and Kirk Cousins, when he was in Washington, he targeted Vernon Davis and Jordan Reed a stupid amount, and I saw that in the preseason quite a bit. And I think with this new offense, Kyle Rudolph is going to kind of go back to where he was before last year, where he's not a great tight end, but if you get that TD, he's probably going to get 4 or 5 receptions for 50 yards. So in PPR, half PPR, you're going to feel okay about him. And if he gets that TD, you're going to feel really good about the week. Don't start either of these kickers. One of them just retired, and the other one's a Vikings kicker, which you never should ever start. All right, I'll hand over to Tony. He's going to handle the Giants at Dallas.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised by this game a little bit that the over/under is 45, so there are going to be some points to be had. I was looking at the defenses actually for both teams look pretty good, so it's kind of interesting that the over/under is decently high for how good the defenses are. I don't know how you feel though about the pass catchers on Dallas this week, because the secondary is actually probably the Giants' strong points. And it's Amari Cooper, who ended the season last year pretty terrible. His lines from the last 3 games were 4 for 32, 4 for 20, and 5 for 30. So I don't think he's startable. I mean, you have to start him if you draft him, but definitely not in DFS leagues. Ezekiel Elliott, they're saying he's going to get 20 to 25 touches this game, so I think he's a safe play.
20 to 25 snaps.
Oh, it's 20 to 25 snaps?
It originally was touches, but I swear I've seen snaps today. Let me look through my Twitter feed really quick and see if I can bring that up.
There's no way they're only going to give him 25 snaps.
I will butt in here really quick and say I completely agree with that. I'm playing Zeke. I think he's going to get more work. They're not going to give it to him 20 times and be like, or have him on the field for 20 plays and be like, okay, it's a close game. Let's not give Zeke Elliott the ball anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely not taking that. Yeah, I'm not taking that snap count report as gospel by any means. I don't have a lot of Zeke, so I'm not really up for having to choose whether or not I want to play him. But I'm with you guys. I think he's going to play more than that.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like he was just sitting on his couch the whole summer. So
I know, right? He's in Cabo. What do you do in Cabo? You work out, of course.
12-ounce curls.
Hey, he's got to work on the pollution in Mexico. His lungs probably got really strong. All right.
But the other thing I think no one's really mentioned is Jason Witten. I mean, I don't know how to feel about him. I don't know if anyone knows how to feel about him at this point.
Witten?
Yeah, I mean, he's the starting tight end, so.
Yeah, dude, I don't have thoughts. I mean, I guess if I don't have thoughts, they're negative.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like we don't know what to expect, but we also know to not expect a lot.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he went undrafted in most leagues, so.
Mm-hmm. I would like to see. I want to see Gallup have a nice game. I mean, I'm
starting Gallup in Dynasty.
I think Gallup's the play over Cooper, to be honest.
Oh, that's bold. I like that. That's bold, but I mean, I don't agree with it. I like that you're coming with the hot takes, but not me. But I won't be the one.
Lucky I don't have that problem. But on the Giants side of the ball, though, I think Sterling Shepard's going to be a PPR machine this week.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you have him, if you have Ingram, you're obviously got to start Ingram. The offense is going to run through those 2 guys in the air, and I think Barkley's just going to get his typical workload. Not sure you're going to like the numbers for Barkley, but he's going to get his touches. Oh, and it's in a dome, so kickers are safe this week for this game.
That's very true. All right. So is that conclude everything?
It's about all I have for that game.
All right. So I think really quick here, just touching over the morning games that we haven't really touched on yet. Buffalo, Jets, two, I think, decent defenses. Sam Darnold looked better. Not excited about playing Lev Bell if you have him. Robbie Anderson is active. He is a go. I would be scared to start him because he's going up against Tre'Davious White, and he is slightly injured. I think you guys gotta have any thoughts on that really quick? Would you
Crowder is going to go ham in PPR. That's my take.
That's Toadie's hot take. AJ,
Well, sorry, you kind of you broke up a little bit. What was the question?
would you feel comfortable putting Robbie Anderson in your lineup with him going up against Tre'Davious White and having a hurt hammy?
No, I am. I mean, you can probably flex them, but again, that's more of a ceiling play. And personally, I think the Bills win this game by a touchdown. I am
Really
like
weird take.
Dude, I'm circling the wagons on Buffalo this season. I think, and by that I mean I think that they're an 8-8, 9-7 team. But I just think the matchup just is in the Buffalo Bills' favor. Like, I don't think that the Jets secondary is gonna be able to do. I mean, yeah, Josh Allen has to throw the ball somewhat accurately, but for me, I just choose to just err on. I just choose to be optimistic about Josh Allen, and I think that he can wreak havoc on the Jets defense with his legs, and having John Brown on the team, I just think pairs so perfect with how Josh Allen plays. So I think that the Bills win by a touchdown. I am all over the Bills. Circle the wagons.
Okay.
I'm 100% with AJ on that. The Bills are probably one of my teams to make the wild cards for playoffs this year.
I don't know if I agree with you guys on that one.
They're going to have the number one defense.
They're gonna have a very good defense. Excuse me, but I don't know. It's just something about. I think it's the turnovers. I'm worried about their offense turning it over, which kind of hurts when you have such a good defense. But let's quickly move on. Just fast thoughts on the other two morning games we haven't talked about at all. Kansas City, Jacksonville. Interesting matchup because you have the super high-powered Kansas City offense who. They actually struggled a little bit against Jacksonville last year. Mahomes, that was like the one game he didn't look incredible in. So it's like you drafted probably a ton of Kansas City players. You have the whole LaShawn McCoy thing. LaShawn McCoy is active. Do you guys, I think the question is, do you guys feel comfortable starting Damian Williams or LaShawn McCoy?
I feel comfortable starting Damian Williams. I think, yeah, LaShawn McCoy is going to get his snaps. And he's gonna, catch some balls that we wish it was Damian Williams catching. But I think until Damian Williams shows that he's not good, which I think that Damian Williams is actually pretty good, and unless Damian Williams sustains an injury, Lord forbid, I think that he's gonna be the guy to own, and I think he's going to actually give you a okay floor, but probably not the ceiling that we wish he had, or that we figured that he would have coming into the season. But at least today, until the tides turn, I think you should feel comfortable starting Damian Williams.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can't not start him just because of the upside of that off. It'd be insane to bench him week 1.
That makes sense. I kind of tend to agree. I think Damian Williams is going to get the work you kind of expected him to get. Andy Reid's going to throw in McCoy there. I think he's going to throw in Darwin Thompson for a few snaps. So Damian Williams isn't going to be like a 90 percentile snap count guy, but when he is in there, I disagree with AJ. Don't think Damian Williams is a great player. However, I think for Andy Reid, he's exactly what he needs, and he feels comfortable using Damian Williams. And Jacksonville, while they are a great defense, scheming against Mahomes is so hard. It's just ridiculous, especially when you have Tyreek Hill flying up the field. You have Sammy Watkins flying up the field. Now they have Mecole Hardman flying around the field. Like, that team is just, it's like watching college football because of how fast they are. We'll go ahead, touch on Tennessee Cleveland really quick. Before we do that, actually, I just got an alert, and I'm sure everyone knew this, but I just want to remind people that Demaryius Thomas is questionable tonight. Edelman had that re-aggravation of the hand, so this is your weekly Josh Gordon is startable and a great play. And I predict him to get 200 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Whoa.
No, just kidding. I honestly think Josh Gordon, though, easy floor of 10 points with a ceiling of mid-20s this week in a half PPR league.
So I'm sorry, you said who was questionable?
Demarius Thomas is questionable. I don't think he ends up
Okay.
playing. I
Okay.
think it's going to be a lot of Josh Gordon. I think Edelman's honestly not going to get the amount of snaps you think. I think that he's being bothered by that hand. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm really high on Josh Gordon against the Pittsburgh Steelers tonight. But Tennessee, Cleveland. It's kind of another game where it's like everyone's so hyped about Cleveland's offense, me included. I am a huge Baker Mayfield fan, but they're going against a really, really good defense. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. You're obviously starting Chubb, but the real question here is OBJ. He's literally saying he can't really sprint or turn with his hip unless he has a ton of adrenaline. So I feel like you kind of have to play OBJ if you with where you draft him. But are you guys playing Jarvis Landry? I think he's a great play this week because I think he's gonna get more targets than you think. I think in a ridiculously deep league, if you absolutely had to, Rashard Higgins in a PPR format might be playable.
I agree. I like Jarvis Landry this league too. I was saying, I mean, I was looking at his ADP in a lot of my drafts, and I was like, wow, Jarvis Landry's really turning into a value pick.
Mm-hmm.
It took to the
Yeah,
very end for that to happen, and I was finally like,
It did.
okay, I'm comfortable doing it.
Yeah, it took a long time, but he was steadily sliding lower and lower in leagues. I don't have any exposure to Jarvis Landry today in DFS, but I do have a couple lineups with Higgins just sprinkled in some tournaments where I think that he can, catch some touchdown balls there. ODB though, you know, I think that if he's gonna play, when it's something like a hip, if it was as bad as like like the reports were, then I don't think he would play. So if you have obviously if you have Odell, you're starting him, but I still think that we are gonna see
I,
full strength Odell out
I
there.
kind of see him, teams. I can see him being used somewhat as a decoy to allow because if OBJ's on the field, you're putting your best corner on him, and you're usually, playing that safety shaded towards OBJ because it's Odell Beckham. That allows Jarvis Landry, who's a great wide receiver in himself, to play against, have better chances. So I think
Hmm.
almost no matter what, OBJ was going to suit up today, and he was going to be on the field for some amount of snaps to see kind of what happens. That's my personal belief. That's why I'm a little worried. It's like if I had OBJ, again, obviously I'm going to start him, but I'd feel very concerned about it. So let's go into our final little segment in these last 15 minutes. We're going to hit 5 sets of players. You tell me which one is going to have the best week. I think the first one is going to be the hardest. Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, Cooper Kupp. Which guy do you think has the best week and why? I'm going to go with a bold prediction here. Despite, I think, having the low snap count, I think Cooper Kupp is going to have the most points because I think he's going to get the TDs today in that red zone. He's just such a good red zone wide receiver. I would personally play Kupp. Next would be Woods because of actually the floor. And then I think Cooks is kind of that guy that I don't really have any Cooks stock because I don't feel comfortable with him with that boomer bust.
Yeah, I was gonna pick Cup too, just for the same reason. I think he's the one who scores the touchdowns this week for.
AJ, what about you? The guy who highlighted the matchup.
I think Woods. I think Woods is gonna. He has the floor here between them all, and he also has the same touchdown upside in my opinion. So I have a lot of exposure to Woods today on DraftKings. So he's my guy this week in this matchup for the Rams.
So there you go. Number 2, Thielen, Stephon Diggs, and Julio Jones. Which one of those 3 has the biggest week? I'm going to go ahead and go with Adam Thielen. Again, I think Rhodes on Julio is going to be a big detriment. I think Diggs is going to get a good snap count. He's going to be in there more than you would think, coming off that questionable injury. But I think Thielen is going to be the guy to really be Kirk's one in this matchup against Atlanta's defense. based off of what I've seen in the preseason, based off of what that offense is running. And I think there's going to be a lot of bootlegs where Thielen gets massive yards in this game.
I think Diggs is the play, just because I think
Ooh.
people are worried too about the injury, especially if you're playing DFS. I don't think anyone's going to be playing him, so he's going to be a good zag play when everyone else is zigging. So
No,
I think he's the start.
Go ahead, AJ.
Okay. Yeah, I think for me, I think I'm leaning Thielen here in PPR. I think that Thielen is going to get just going to catch a ton of balls and just do his thing. I do have a little bit of Julio. I think that he is going to be leaned on. I do think the Vikings are going to win this matchup. So I could see Matt Ryan having to, try to make some plays, and Julio is the guy to try to make those plays too. So, yeah, Julio, potentially higher ceiling, but I'm still, taking Thielen out of those three for sure.
Okay, and let's take a quick pause and looking at the comments on our YouTube, we have two quick questions. Kramer, the good old Polish boy who is extremely sick right now, asked Josh Gordon or Damian Williams. If I had to choose one, I would go, I think, Josh Gordon this week. That's probably a little bit of a hot take. I think Josh Gordon has a better week. How about you guys?
I like Josh Gordon too, to be honest, just because the Jaguar defense and the question marks LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah, AJ?
I do kind of like Josh Gordon this week as well. I don't think there's necessarily a wrong answer here, but I think that this Steelers Patriots game is going to be high scoring.
54 to
And
50. That would
let's
be great.
book it. Book it. And I think that Josh Gordon is definitely going to have the chance to make some plays here. So.
All right, and then we have one question from Jackson Mika. He says he has Austin Eckler and he's projected first in his league. Should I get Melvin Gordon before he starts playing? So basically, should he trade for Melvin Gordon? Do you guys think that's a good idea because he has Austin Eckler? If you guys don't mind, I'll weigh in really quick. I don't think it's a good idea because you have Austin Eckler, but if you have good depth and you're feeling really good about your team and you kind of want that play to win a championship, and the owner of Melvin Gordon is worried about him and you're going to get him cheap, it's all very scenario based. So if you feel really confident about your team and that Melvin Gordon owner is starting to get worried, I could see making a play for him, especially since you have that Eckler, back, you're not too worried about when he comes back. When he comes back, he'll be that running back one for you. Until then, you have Eckler.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the thing, too, with trades with players like that is the longer you wait to trade, the harder it's going to be to trade. Just because the owner is going to know, it's only a couple more weeks till he gets back. Like right now, his value is probably the lowest it's going to be. It's just going to get more expensive every week you hold off on doing that trade.
Yeah, I think if you, like Tony said, if you're going to trade for him, do it now. I can't necessarily advocate that you do that because it's not something that I'm looking to do in fantasy. So I'm not going to tell you to do something that I'm not personally doing myself. So yeah, if you want to reach out to him, talk to him, see what he's interested in. If you can get somebody that is like borderline droppable for you, if you're extremely deep, like Matt was saying, then go ahead and try to make a play for him. But I would reach out and just see what he's looking for. And if it's too rich for your blood, which for me is not too hard because I'm just, like I said, I'm not trying to get him, then go ahead and try to make a play. But personally, it's not something that I would advocate.
All right. So let's now move on to number 3. And I originally had Zeke Barkley, but because of Zeke's snap count whole thing, how about we do who has the better week? So DFS, you have a ton of money left because you got all these great value plays you love. Do you play Saquon or do you play Christian McCaffrey?
There we go.
I personally lean towards McCaffrey this week. How about,
Yeah, McCaffrey 100%. Like no question in my mind.
How about you?
Yeah,
AJ?
like I said, yeah, that's my game. I am very much leaning McCaffrey in DFS. He's $300 cheaper than Saquon, which isn't a lot, but it's still $300 that you wouldn't have if you were playing Saquon. And I think that McCaffrey has the better floor and the better ceiling in today's game.
All right, so let's move on quickly here. Now, the big three tight ends. Who has the best week? Kelsey, Ertz, or Kittle? This one, after I put it down, I think the answer is really easy, and it's going to be Kittle because of his matchup.
Well, yeah, Kittle of course has like the sexiest matchup, but whenever Mahomes didn't play well against Jacksonville,
He did lead on
they
Kelsey.
took away Tyreek, and it's a new I don't know. I'm gonna lean Kittle, but it wouldn't I wouldn't be shocked at all if it was Kelsey.
Here's my
Um,
argument really quick. Kelsey, I'm not super confident because they're playing against the best linebacking core in the NFL. Maybe the only guys I think in the league that could possibly handle Kelsey. Versus Kittle, who it's not only that he's playing against Tampa. Tampa has some okay linebackers and not very good safeties. But none of those wide receivers do I have any confidence in. Marquise Goodwin, Dante Pettis, it's like Shanahan felt forced to play them because he had no other choice. Jalen Hurds out, some guy that might have got playing time this week if he wasn't. I don't think we see much of Deebo Samuel. I think Kittle's going to be heavily leaned on. I think in PPR specifically, I'd pick Kittle 100%. In half PPR, I'm still going Kittle, but it's a little bit closer.
Yeah. The one thing is for Kelsey, Telvin Smith isn't playing this year for Jacksonville, so kind of like him a little bit, but I think Miles Jack would probably be the one to cover Kelsey,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So, I mean, it's still not great, but I still think Telvin Smith was a better linebacker than Miles Jack. But
I could see that.
it's still not. I mean, Kittle is the easy pick, to be honest, but it's interesting. I wouldn't be as worried about Kelsey, but yeah.
AJ, any closing thoughts on that one?
no, I think you guys covered it. The plus side, for Kittle is much more appealing.
I do want to just throw out here, as you saw, none of us even considered Ertz, and there's a lot of reasons for that. And for me, the main one is Dallas Goedert, and I think Dallas Goedert actually outscores him this game. That's my super stupidly bold take of the week that I didn't need to make.
That is a hot take.
Last one, and speaking of that 49ers game, who has the best week? And I think it's really between the first two, but maybe one of you guys surprised me. Chris Godwin, that is, Mike Evans, or Dante Pettis. Which one has the best week? I'm actually going, again, let's do half PPR format. I'm going Godwin. I think he gets more looks than Evans this week.
I think it's just whichever wide receiver is running on the side opposite Sherman, because that side of the Niners secondary is terrible. So
Well, it's not.
Yeah.
Godwin does play the slot. And I don't think does Sherman ever cover the slot, even when it's on this side.
I mean, usually I think the way the Niners play is Sherman plays one side, and then whoever it is playing the other side, and they could just move Evans over there too, and he's just going to go off. It really doesn't matter. Whoever's on the other side on that play is going off.
Yeah, I think that I think Evans is the highest scoring guy here. I know Godwin is like the new shiny toy that everyone is super excited about, and I'm excited about him too. But Evans is going to be leaned on, I think. I don't think the Tampa Bay is going to be able to stop this offense from San Francisco, even though it's not the most overpowering thing in the world. But I foresee Jameis leaning on Mike Evans today.
Yeah. All right. So I think that wraps it up. Let me see if I can find in my Twitter feed. I did see a full list of ins and outs, and maybe could pull that up for you guys if I can find it, because Twitter likes to hide random tweets because they think they're smarter than they are, and it's rather irritating. Here we go. Pro Football Talk, thank you. Hopefully this video does not play. So, oh wow, this list is way too long. Let me highlight the big ones again. Diggs in, Robbie Anderson in, Albert Wilson in, Peterson out, Jordan Reed out, Marcel Darius out, Marquise Brown, that is the Hollywood Marquise Brown, active. So I think the biggest two there is Diggs and Robbie. I feel very confident playing Diggs. I don't know about Robbie Anderson. It's going to be a tough week one, but I do feel a lot better about him and Darnold together this year than I did in past years. Tony just shut me up and put into Discord that according to Jordan Rand, that Zeke Elliott is expecting to handle a normal workload versus Giants per source. Dallas may pull back a bit after just 3 practices, but his peers were going to see a lot of Elliott and how much that Cabo work prepared him for week 1. So the reports that were, it's like a flurry of tweets came out this morning that's like, he's only getting 25 snaps. He's only getting 25 snaps. And it was not sure what triggered that, because like before that I was hearing that he might get the full workload. Now we're hearing again he might get the full workload. I say if you drafted Zeke, just play him, because you don't want to be sitting there like, I could have started Zeke Elliott when he scored 25 against the Giants.
Yeah, you're starting him if you have him, no doubt.
Yeah, there's 2 conflicting, so enjoy.
There's Rappaport's tweet. It's in our Discord. Sorry, can't pull it over, but he's saying only 20 to 25 to see if the Tony Pollard hype is real. Just don't see that happening.
Ian can be an idiot sometimes.
I just don't see how you pay Zeke so much money, and if he's in shape, how do you not play him?
And it's one of those things where it's not, Zeke is a different breed. He's not Dalvin Cook or somebody. He's Zeke Elliott. Like, he's just so in shape. He runs so hard. He doesn't seem to ever get hurt. I would not be worried about him getting tired. Like, you gave him the ball rushing 320 times last year. I don't think you should be worried about him just having no training camp because he worked out by himself. They got that contract then. You're playing Zeke. I think Zeke actually has a great week. But that's going to be all from us. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back next week. Hopefully Kramer can join us. He's back from South Africa. However, he may have malaria or typhoid. He is pretty messed up right now. He's watching. Hope you feel better, buddy. Hope your week 1 goes well. And good luck to everybody.